Floods are getting worse, and the number of people exposed is 10 times higher than previously thought, study finds. Climate change is making extreme flooding worse, and a study published Wednesday in the journal Nature concluded the population exposed to those floods since 2000 is 10 times higher than previous estimates, as more people migrate into flood-prone areas. The study comes days before the UN's Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change is set to release a major State of the Science report, which is expected to describe how extreme weather such as floods, cyclones, and sea level rise will continue to worsen and become more frequent due to human-caused climate change. Scientists at Cloud2Street, NASA, Google Earth, and universities analyzed global flood exposure using satellite observations, creating the largest flood dataset ever produced that maps the maximum extent of water during 913 large flood events between 2000 and 2018. Everybody now wants to know what's going on globally, whereas traditionally, these databases or observations were only available at field measurement scales of a local or, at best, at a national scale. Tillman, who has been working on this research for the past 5 years, said it was shocking to see the increase in flood events where population has also skyrocketed. And floodplains are now more frequently found in urban areas, she said. That was sort of the big aha moment for us, Tillman said, where we're like, there is a really serious problem with floodplain-prone development. From 2000 to 2015, approximately 58 to 86 million people moved to flood-prone regions, they found, which translates to a roughly 20% increase in the population exposed to floods. Flooding and the number of people exposed to it will continue to worsen, the study found. 32 countries are already experiencing increasing floods, and 25 new countries will be added to that list by 2030 unless greenhouse gas emissions are significantly curbed, researchers found. Low-income communities are often the most at risk, since they tend to have no choice but to settle in less favorable, less expensive areas that are more prone to flooding.
It's not like people are necessarily wanting or choosing to live in a place at high risk, but they may have no other option or no public housing program in their country, Tillman said. In 2007, for example, floods from a deadly cyclone killed roughly 1,000 residents and displaced 9 million people in Dhaka, the capital of Bangladesh. Within that time frame, the analysis shows Dhaka also experienced a surging population in poor areas prone to inundation. When we have infrastructure like a dam or levee, people feel safe and feel like that land is protected, so it increases in value, and we build things there, she said. The problem is, if the dam isn't maintained, then it can become a massive hazard and affect so many people. In 2008, embankments along the Koshi River collapsed and destroyed the homes of more than 3 million people in India and Nepal. In 2018, heavy rain and a subsequent release of water from the Begar Dam in Burkina Faso flooded thousands of hectares of agricultural land in the neighboring country of Ghana, which worsened food insecurity in the region. Researchers say such incidents demonstrate the deadly cost of failing infrastructure, exacerbated by climate change. We need to make sure that there are still early warning systems, evacuation plans, and good communication between the most vulnerable, political officials, emergency responders, and so forth, said Ward, who was not involved with the study. Satellite observations capture realities that are not often captured by predictive climate models, according to Tillman. Most maps of flood-prone areas, including those used by government agencies like the Federal Emergency Management Agency, rely on models that simulate floods based on historical data, the results of which can be limited as climate change pushes flooding into unprecedented territory. Outside experts said Cloud2Street's population analysis will strengthen the data they already have, especially as the climate changes. The most important thing from this research is the database itself, Ward said.
As somebody who models flood risks, these data really will allow us to better validate the models and check the models against reality. As climate change fuels more extreme and far-reaching floods, Tillman hopes the new analysis will encourage policymakers to invest in equitable climate adaptation measures in places where flood exposure has grown faster than the surrounding population. Who gets impacted by floods really is in our control, Tillman said.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.